June 20th, 2019, 3:35 a.m. local time. Strait of Hormuz. An RTU-4A Global Hawk surveillance drone, 70 feet long, wingspan wider than a Boeing 737, cruising at 60,000 feet, transmits its final data burst back to Naval Air Station Patuxent River in Maryland. Then, the signal goes dark. Somewhere on the Iranian coast, near a village called Goruk, an operator watches a radar screen. Target acquired. Lock confirmed. Fire. A Sayyad-2 surface-to-air missile screams into the pre-dawn sky at 3 times the speed of sound. 34 kilometers. 21 miles. International airspace. The missile doesn't care about airspace. It cares about coordinates. And those coordinates just became an explosion at 60,000 feet. $130 million. Gone. The most expensive drone America has ever lost. Shot down by a missile system that cost a fraction of that. And President Donald Trump? He's got 10 minutes to decide whether to start a war. This is the story of the night the sky exploded over the Persian Gulf, and why we're still living with the consequences. Background: the Strait of Hormuz powder keg. The Strait of Hormuz is 21 miles wide at its narrowest point, a sliver of water between Iran and Oman. Doesn't sound like much, but 21 million barrels of oil pass through it every single day, 1/3 of the world's seaborne oil, $15 trillion in annual trade. Close the strait and the global economy collapses. Iran knows this, America knows this, and in June 2019, both countries are locked in a crisis that's spiraling toward war. It started a year earlier, May 2018. President Trump withdrew the United States from the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, the Iran nuclear deal negotiated by President Obama and 5 other world powers. Trump called it the worst deal in history. He reimposed crippling economic sanctions. Maximum pressure, he called it. Choke Iran's economy. Force them back to the negotiating table on American terms. Iran's response? We don't negotiate under pressure. And if we can't sell our oil, nobody sells their oil. By June 2019, tensions had reached a boiling point. 2 Japanese tankers and 2 Norwegian tankers exploded in the Gulf of Oman. The United States blamed Iran. Limpet mines attached to the hulls by Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps fast boats. Video showed an Iranian patrol craft pulling up alongside one burning tanker, seemingly removing unexploded ordnance. Tehran denied everything, called it a false flag. Then Iran announced it would breach the nuclear deal's uranium enrichment limits, quadruple production of low-enriched uranium, threaten to enrich closer to weapons-grade levels. Europe begged for restraint. Trump tweeted warnings, and American intelligence detected Iranian missiles being loaded onto small boats in the Persian Gulf. The USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group deployed to the region. B-52 bombers flew from Louisiana to Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. The Pentagon sent an additional 1,500 troops. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo warned of imminent threats. National Security Advisor John Bolton, a legendary Iran hawk, pushed for military action. And into this powder keg, the United States Navy sent a $130 million surveillance drone to monitor Iranian naval activity. What could possibly go wrong? The mission: RQ-4A Global Hawk over the Gulf. The RQ-4A Global Hawk is not a small drone. It's not a Predator or a Reaper. Those are tactical drones, lightweight, used for close air support and targeted strikes. The Global Hawk is strategic, a high-altitude, long-endurance intelligence platform designed to replace the legendary U-2 spy plane. 74 feet long, wingspan wider than a Boeing 737, weighs 32,000 pounds fully loaded, powered by a Rolls-Royce turbofan engine, cruises at over 60,000 feet, twice the altitude of commercial aircraft, can stay airborne for over 30 hours, range 12,000 miles. It carries no weapons, just sensors, synthetic aperture radar, electro-optical cameras, infrared imaging, signals intelligence packages. It can see ships, submarines, aircraft, missile launchers. It can intercept communications, track movements, build a real-time picture of everything happening below. The Navy's version, officially designated RQ-4A BAMD-D for Broad Area Maritime Surveillance Demonstrator, is tailored to naval intelligence, monitoring warships, tracking fast attack craft, watching for mine-laying operations. It's the eye in the sky that allows American commanders to see Iranian naval movements before they happen. And in mid-June 2019, with Iranian threats against tankers escalating, that eye was critically important. The mission profile was routine. Take off from Al Dhafra Air Base in the United Arab Emirates, fly north over the Gulf of Oman, monitor the Strait of Hormuz, stay in international airspace, don't cross into Iranian territorial waters, orbit for hours, collect intelligence, return to base. The Global Hawk had done this mission dozens of times, hundreds of times. The route was programmed. The operators, sitting in a ground control station thousands of miles away, monitored the flight path, managed the sensors, adjusted for weather. The drone itself handled most of the flying. June 19th, 11:35 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. June 20th, 3:05 a.m. Iranian local time. The Global Hawk was cruising along its planned route. Flight path showed it approximately 34 kilometers from the nearest point of Iranian coastline, well outside the 12 nautical mile territorial limit. And then, from a truck-mounted launcher near Goruk in southern Iran's Hormuzan province, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps fired a Sayad-2 missile from their Khordad-3 air defense system. Time to impact, less than 2 minutes. The Global Hawk had no defensive systems, no chaff, no flares, no electronic countermeasures. It wasn't designed for combat. It was designed to fly high enough that nothing could reach it. Except the Khordad-3 system is specifically designed to hit high-altitude targets, and the Sayad-2 missile has a maximum engagement altitude of 75,000 feet. The drone never had a chance.
Initial reports were confused. Was it a malfunction? Did the drone lose power? Did it crash due to mechanical failure? Then, U.S. Central Command confirmed what Iranian state media was already celebrating. The RQ-4A had been shot down by an Iranian surface-to-air missile. Iran's version of events came fast. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps issued a statement. The drone had violated Iranian airspace. It had ignored warnings. It was operating in stealth mode, transponder turned off, trying to avoid detection. So, Iran exercised its right to self-defense and destroyed it. Brigadier General Amir Ali Hajizadeh, commander of the IRGC's Aerospace Force, gave a detailed account. The drone took off from a U.S. base south of the Persian Gulf. It flew toward the Iranian port of Chabahar. On its return journey, it crossed into Iranian airspace near the Strait of Hormuz. Iran warned it twice, radio messages telling the aircraft to change course. It didn't respond. So, at 4:05 a.m., Iran fired. Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif tweeted GPS coordinates: 25 degrees, 59 minutes, 43 seconds north, 57 degrees, 2 minutes, 25 seconds east. He claimed this position, 8.3 nautical miles off Iran's coast, proved the drone was inside Iran's 12 nautical mile territorial waters. The United States immediately disputed every detail. U.S. Central Command released its own statement. The drone was in international airspace. It had not violated Iranian territory at any time. It was operating approximately 34 kilometers, 21 miles from the Iranian coast. The attack was unprovoked, irresponsible, dangerous. Lieutenant General Joseph Guastella, commander of U.S. Air Force's Central Command, held a briefing. He provided maps, flight track data, infrared imagery showing the explosion. He emphasized that the drone's closest approach to Iran was 21 miles, never crossed into territorial waters, never even came close. CENTCOM also released an infrared image allegedly taken from a P-8 Poseidon maritime patrol aircraft that was in the area. It shows a bright flash at coordinates 25 degrees, 57 minutes, 27 seconds north, 56 degrees, 52 minutes, 39 seconds east, 17.3 nautical miles off Iran's coast. Clear proof, the Pentagon said, that Iran's claim was false. But here's the problem. GPS coordinates can be disputed. Flight paths can be reconstructed differently depending on which data you trust. Iran showed video of what it claimed was the missile launch and interception. The U.S. showed infrared footage of the explosion. Neither side was backing down. And there was one more complication. The New York Times, citing senior administration officials, reported that there were doubts inside the U.S. government about whether the Global Hawk had really stayed in international airspace the entire time. The drone and the accompanying P-8 Poseidon, a manned aircraft with a crew of up to 28 people, might have briefly strayed into Iranian airspace, maybe accidentally, maybe due to navigation error. Maybe the Iranians weren't entirely lying. President Trump tweeted within hours, "Iran made a very big mistake." But he also told reporters something strange. "I have a feeling that it was a mistake made by somebody that shouldn't have been doing what they did. I think that it could have been somebody loose and stupid that did it." A mistake? Iran had just shot down the most expensive drone in the U.S. military arsenal? And Trump was calling it an accident? The world held its breath.
So instead of missiles, Trump launched something else: cyberattacks. The Washington Post and New York Times reported, citing multiple officials, that the United States conducted offensive cyber operations against Iranian military computer systems, specifically targeting the IRGC's command and control networks, the systems that manage Iran's missile launches. The goal? Cripple their ability to coordinate attacks without killing anyone. Iran's Information and Communications Technology Minister later claimed the cyber attacks failed. "They try hard, but they have yet to carry out a successful attack," he said. "The systems were firewalled. Iran was prepared." Maybe, or maybe that's what you say when you've just been hit and don't want to admit it. Trump also announced new economic sanctions targeting Iranian leaders. He requested a closed-door UN Security Council meeting, and he sent a message through back channels. We don't want war, but we won't tolerate attacks on our assets. The crisis didn't end, but it didn't escalate into open war either. Aftermath. The war that didn't happen. The shoot-down of the Global Hawk was a turning point, not because it led to war, but because it almost did, and then didn't. Iran proved it could hit high-altitude American drones with precision. The Hordad-3 system, a domestically produced air defense platform, successfully engaged a target flying at 60,000 feet, 34 kilometers away. That's not trivial. It means Iran's air defenses are more capable than many Western analysts assumed. The United States proved it had restraint. Despite enormous pressure from hardliners, despite having military assets in position to strike, Trump chose de-escalation. That surprised Tehran. It also surprised Bolton and Pompeo. Within months, Bolton was out of the administration, frustrated that Trump wouldn't commit to regime change in Iran. Pompeo stayed, but watched his maximum pressure campaign fail to force Iran to negotiate. The shootdown revealed something else: the limits of American military dominance. For decades, the United States operated with impunity in international airspace and waters. Fly wherever, monitor whoever, project power anywhere. If you shot at us, we'd destroy you. Iran called that bluff. They shot down the drone, and America didn't invade, didn't launch massive airstrikes, didn't topple the regime. That changed the calculus, not just for Iran, but for Russia, China, North Korea, and every other adversary. America's willingness to go to war isn't unlimited. If you're strategic about it, if you don't kill Americans, if you calculate your provocations carefully, you might get away with it. That's a dangerous precedent. It emboldens adversaries, but it also prevents catastrophic wars over drones and pride. 5 years later, we're living with this balance. The U.S. and Iran remain locked in a cold conflict. Proxies in Syria, Iraq, Lebanon, Yemen, cyber warfare, covert operations, but not open war. Not yet. Maybe not ever. Because on June 20th, 2019, a $130 million drone fell from the sky, and Donald Trump decided it wasn't worth 150 lives to avenge it. History may debate whether that was weakness or wisdom, but it was certainly unusual. And in the volatile, unpredictable, hair-trigger world of U.S.-Iran relations, unusual decisions are sometimes the ones that prevent disaster. The Global Hawk is gone, but its legacy remains. A reminder that even in an age of drones and remote warfare, even when machines do the fighting and dying, human judgment still matters. The question Trump asked, "How many will die?" is the question every leader should ask before launching missiles. On June 20th, 2019, the answer was 150, and 150 was too many.